What's up? And welcome to the Fortheboys podcast. You're listening to. What's up, brothers?
So boys.
How we all doing?
All good. All good. It's all good.
Yeah. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for jumping on and watching our podcast. Just a short intro. Our podcast is created for the brothers, sisters out there that have been on a journey. That along the journey, it's been a tough one, filled with struggles, and with those struggles comes experiences that we get to share on this platform. We share our stories and also the stories of guests that do jump on and later podcast. And also, if you do want to listen to our audio podcast, it's on all platforms, major platforms. I'm Teza, by the way.
I'm Swinkily Second. Whether you're joining us tonight or listening to our audio podcast, like those who said, thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning in.
Yo, and I'm Wills. Just a disclaimer: we are not professionals, but we are professionals. So this is a Talanoa for all. We're creating a safe space for us to get down and, if you want to bust out the robot or bust out the headspins.
Yes, sir.
Let's go.
That's it, Oos. Just having that talk.
Yeah, just encouraging our brothers to share. Open up. We're big on mental health. And we started this journey with, the brothers. So along the way, we've kind of heard stories from everyone. And, it became bigger, as the cliche says, it became bigger than us. Also, if you in the chat, please come through, share your questions or whatever. If you got any questions for the brothers, not for me, but, for the professionals over there, please throw it in the chat. Shout out to Sifa in the chat and also Beast. What's good, King?
Hey. What's good? What's good to Beast Mose? What are you doing on Reddit? That's like a Reddit symbol you're chatting from, Moose. What's up, Sifa? How's the ports going also?
Shout out to Pierre.
Oh, and
Pierre and also just quickly, did anyone watch the news? Probably didn't. I think the government is, on the news, don't know. The government is making it public, the records of people that are getting vaccinated, eh?
Oh,
it's
like the areas.
Yeah.
Passport? What?
It's just
what do you mean?
the areas that caught my attention. I was like, fuck, I'm vaccinated. But still, just having that record out there showing that these two sides. What's your take on it, Wills?
I was shocked when I heard it today, but then I was also thinking, do they count those that are coming from a different area to that closest area, or is it just that area? So yeah, I'm still trying to get my head around that.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. What are they keeping track of?
Just keeping track of the areas in New Zealand or Auckland that where the vaccine rates are high.
Oh,
And then they're talking about the ones that are low, so they put them in categories with the colors, like yellow being not that many, and different color for those that have got a lot.
And did they show?
Yeah.
Did they show like the colors? Or what areas are the good ones?
They showed the colors, and they were talking about the area. I can't remember what area they said is got the most vaccinated people, but it's fuzzy. Because weren't they talking about that? Weren't they talking about? I mean, there was a discussion before where they were talking about West Auckland, and then they were going South Auckland. So it kind of, to me, it sounded kind of similar. Like,
Yeah, just putting the areas on blast day.
Yeah.
You know, and then it gives the whole country, I guess, ammo. When you see that area is not vaccinated, you're gonna have the areas around it like kind of. Well, that's my take on it anyway.
Yeah, that's definitely my take on it too. Like, man, like I'm all for the vaccine, regardless. I mean, we've already had this conversation before. Our loved ones, our kids, but I'm not too sure whether we need to have. Do we actually need to have that?
Yeah.
In the media, like as Terry was saying, we're giving ammo for people to, start talking about certain areas.
Yeah, exactly. And then from what the media have said, it's just to encourage those in the area to get vaccinated.
To have pride in the area.
Yeah. And
true.
I'm
Very
all for
very interesting.
I'm all for freedom of choice. And if you don't want to get the vaccine, that's your, let me said it, millions of times on this podcast. If you want to get it, get it. If you don't, that's up to you. There's a lot of information out there that, if you want to believe, either points to what you agree on or it doesn't. So, yeah. So I'm vaccinated, and I'm not going to force my point across to unvaccinated people.
Like myself. Like myself. Or eventually, I might have to do it because, like we said, like the household, people in my household, I'm gonna have to do it just to look out for them because they're in that vulnerable age. So,
yeah,
we'll come around to it. Yeah.
And again, thank you for the chat for coming through, even though it's not. It's quite a few messages in there, and I just want to give to welcome to the team first of all, Mr. Wills Brown. I guess with him joining the team, like everyone else is, they're forced. There was no hey, you want to join the team? It's hey, bro, come on every Thursday. Now you're part of the team.
You're part of the team now. This is your corner up here.
You're holding that down. We're giving our regards to from Muffy. He's a busy man, and he'll be on maybe at a later point in the show, or maybe in our next shows coming up. We're all going through something in our lives. And it's always good to take a break away from whether you're doing podcast or
yes, sir.
work. So yeah, a big thank you and a welcome to Will's. How do you feel, man, joining the team or getting forced to join the team?
Hey, like I said on the last podcast, man, I was here from day dot. Cheering in the back, seeing the stuff that you guys are doing. Just grateful too to be able to be. To join this, the elite team, but also too is obviously this is for mental health. I'm always for I'm always one to give, whether it's advice or give your last dollar. But also too is this platform allows me to have the courage too to talk about anything that I may be going through, or someone that I know that's going through something. So I'm all for this thing. So
thank you, Uso.
Part of the Expendables.
Jesus. Thought you were going to say Avengers, but Expendables. Well, thanks, Uso. Thanks for coming on board, joining the team.
Good, man.
Maybe we're gonna have to rethink our intro because, like we spoke earlier, we normally say we're not professionals, but we got a professional on the team.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, though. You know, I guess in my line of work, I'm a professional, but when I'm not at work, I'm a professional. So, you know, it's understanding the two, the difference between the two, when to give advice, when not to give advice. But I'm just, I feel like Dr. Phil on this podcast.
Oh.
Just don't know what advice I'm going to prescribe. Grateful.
Hey, man, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, bro. It's I guess it's you've come with a wealth of knowledge, and the tools that you bring to our show is more than all three of us combined. So, so thanks, Us. We have a question in the chat, Us. I think was
Miller's
asked.
question? Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, Millie, for tapping in. But it's a long. Oh, she goes, what is your guys' intake on or thoughts about the freebies given away to people that come in, like Manica with the free KFC, Mangere with their free microwaves and gas vouchers, then Real with their free bags of colors? She goes, there wasn't so many keen until the freebies came along. You guys' thoughts? This was with Vax, eh? Like I saw one of those stories. I was like, oh.
It's
yeah, I guess my 2 cents, and obviously the good thing about this platform is that we can speak on our own opinions or experiences. When I saw that, I was like, if that's a way or a means to get people in, because you know they've called it out, get the vaccine. They've sent out buses. I saw that they're like doing taxis now. I know that now they're enticing people to come through, get a feed, and get a jab. I'm not too sure. My take on it was, at least we're trying to reach everybody. And I think, I guess, yeah, that's my take on it. So if it's working, it's working. If it's not, then you know, what else is there?
Yeah, that's if the government or community are coming together to try and encourage those to get vaccinated, and they have this to entice them, it's kind of like, the way I look at it is good on them, and then at the same time, you know, we have struggling families out there that are you know, they're looking for food, but in order to get the food, they have to get the vaccine. Yes, they're going to get and if that's what they want, but where was the free food before the vaccine was put out? Like, where was the free taxis to help families that needed it at the time? So yeah, like when I heard and I seen like a lot of I'm only talking about poly and moldy people. Like, I see a lot of them going, and then, bro, good on them. Go and get something to eat, and if you're getting the vaccine, and if that's what you want, good on you, get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can encourage it. And bro, there was, I think, like $2,000 vouchers given away. So there was so many other things I'm still hearing.
Yeah.
Places giving out $200 pack and save vouchers plus KFC if you were the first 500. I heard from one of the boys. So yeah, it's
a hard one.
It's a 50-50, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we know our demographic, like, people are hungry out here. There's actually people that are like finding it hard to make ends meet. So this is like sort of, you know, if this is down there, if they're hungry, they're gonna go get the vax just to get their food. But I reckon if they just made like proper boxes of, you know, like of rice or like those, I reckon that would be a good way to go. Like, they can feed you for a week, you know.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing too is straight away you look at the KFC, like you can look at it like either good or bad. You know,
Yeah.
are you just gonna have, just because you want the KFC and you're not gonna you don't know what you're getting in your arm, or you haven't done your own research and you're hungry? Like, we've all been through that stage where we were hungry and we did anything desperately. And then the flip side to that is, and there probably is, like, what about back and save vouchers or something? So it's like, KFC is where a lot of people are gonna go get the jam from. It's because of the chicken. It's like,
Do they still have these same lines up north, or is it just south?
Well, that's the thing. When you see it in the news, it's straight away. Hey, it's
like, I want to know if the same energy is up north, like, or is up north one of the highest vaccinated areas? Like, I want to see the same energy. Like, that's my thing.
And that's a lengthy conversation in itself. Because I guess from the organizer of that, as they're trying to reach the people, but then you're going to have the others that are like, oh, well, shouldn't be you be using something else? But then it's like the flip side to that is, what are you doing to encourage people? So yeah, can go on for days about that conversation. KFC,
straight up hard. Yeah, hard.
Yeah, and on that KFC, like,
and you might get to the front and it's cold. They're that cold KFC. It's not good KFC.
Nobody likes cold KFC.
No one likes cold fries, man. No one likes cold KFC fries, man.
So that's the thing. Like, you saw, like, when I saw the photo, there was like stacks of them.
Yo,
and
see?
Like, by the time you get to your KFC, you're gonna be complaining about how sore your arm is, and complaining because your fries are cold. Oh, mate,
bro, nobody likes cold fries, bro. I'm telling you.
Hey, man.
But in that same kind of in that same kind of breath, the community are trying to enhance, people to look after themselves and get the jab, and then on the other hand, these KFC, and like Bear said, we will never win.
We'll never win.
I just want to know, in like the eras of like Ponsonby, where they're giving them like 5-star meals. Just asking.
Yeah, that's a conversation up for debate. Like I mean, I guess if you look at the media, we're always having these discussions on why is it different for different areas of New Zealand, and then South Auckland's always usually the one that's stigmatized in terms of what they're doing or what they're showing in the media.
Oh, bro.
Which
100%.
was there more questions you wanted to ask?
No, that's it.
Which leads me to because you wanted to get sorry, with the topics that we wanted to discuss tonight was how we I dig a bit more into our lives, into our backgrounds. First of all, I wanted just to hand it over to Wills. He's briefly touched on it in if I think our first ever guest to have on our show.
Yes,
and we apologize for not giving him the best platform to share, because I think the also over here was
I was
nervous.
a professional.
And then as soon as I jumped on, I was late, so my time management was off. So we're going to hand the mic back over to Wills, because he's got an amazing journey to get to where he is now. And I've known Wills for maybe 10 years, but you would never think with his experience, you would never think or have a story made up in your mind about the guy. He's always giving. So yeah, I'll hand it back over to Wills, bro, and then we can sort of bounce in between.
Yeah, I was going to bring up that my debut was kind of cut short, but it's all good. Nah, all good, Swanky. No. So obviously my background or my story is obviously grew up and got 4 siblings, 3 brothers and a sister, and we grew up in a dysfunctional family. A lot of child, abuse in terms of seeing your the father figure beating up your mum, and that's not what anybody should be going through.
He wants a debut as well.
Eh?
The little one wants a debut as well.
Yeah. He's like, what are you doing, man? Yeah. So, and I guess if
sorry, Will, just move the mic closer, like right up. You might have to speak right into it.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. So as I was saying, I probably started school a lot later. We were like bouncing from like women's refuges all over Auckland, and it probably it's there's definitely some trauma there for myself and probably for my siblings as well. But in saying that, we grew up with a single mother that did both roles and gave us the best, and that's all we ever wanted. And then just kind of like fast forward, obviously, the growing up, it's kind of led me to what I do now, working with youth. I think if I had that person or that figure that was there to help me, I probably wouldn't have done a lot of things. But just grateful that had a mother that was able to kind of like step back and see that you're whatever you have, and you just go with that. Working a lot of jobs and whatnot. But I guess in saying that, like, the story's like so long. I've even like wanted to write books and stuff about it, but haven't been given the chance. So yeah, fast forward, I'm actually working with youth, and that's why I do what I do.
No fast forwards here. No fast forwards here. But I think you spoke about how you had to provide for your younger brothers and sisters, and sacrificing a lot of your childhood or maybe teenager years to basically put food and help mum with, I guess just life in general. And what was going through your mind at the time, bro?
I guess if I can touch on one of the stories that's kind of given me a bit of a head start in life is having I think I touched on it before that in my own eyes I thought I could have been an All Black if I continued with rugby, but I also knew that things at home needed to be done, food on the table. My mum was already working 2 jobs, so I spent 10 hours. So I would say to my mum that I'm going to work, but I'd spent 10 hours at a bakery for $1, and I think it was only Form 2. So that was 10 hours for $10, but it wasn't so much the money. It was because I was able to take all the leftovers. So whilst I was working, I was actually hoping that nobody came in, because whatever was left, I get to take that home, and that would be my siblings' lunch and dinner for the rest of the week. It sounds cliche, but it's like true stories. It also too is like, yeah, so like even if customers came in, they would take some of the food, and I would like go and get some of the stuff from the back, and I would like sneak to the front, and I'll put it back into the counters. So then I was able to take all that stuff home. And then like my childhood friends now, like they would know what time I'd finish work, and sometimes I'd go, like this is even after school, but in the weekends, and they would purposely wait for me up the road. So I'd come walking with all these bags of bakery, bro, and they'll be chasing me down like Avondale, and I'd be just like, I'll throw a bag, so like I'll purposely put just bread or buns in one bag, throw it, and bro, like vultures, they'll go get that, and then I'll make it all the way home.
I had a similar story growing up because I spent a few times I'd try my best to go stay over at the cousin's house because I knew this one cousin had food like they had like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, bro. And I'm like, bro, do you guys have breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Like to me and our family, I guess the same thing, but dad worked basically 12 plus hours a day, 7 days a week. And then mum was a stay-at-home, looking after all the little kids. So, and at the end of the, when pay week came around, it wasn't enough to feed the kids. So in my head, I thought, man, I'm gonna go stay with my cousins. You kind of blame your parents for not feeding you, but you didn't know the struggle that they had to go through. And so whenever I had a chance to, my cousins come over, I'll always say, "Oh, can I come home with you?" And then they'll go, "Oh, you gotta ask your dad." And my dad was notorious, bro. Like he's a hard man, but he was notorious to say no. So my next option was, "Oh, can you go ask my mum? She'll say yes to you, not to me." And then like throughout the whole stay, when my cousins were there, I'd wait for my dad to get up and go. And I go, "Mum, I'm gonna go with so and so," and she, she'll go, "Oh yeah, make sure you come back tonight." I'm like, yeah. And then I don't come back for like 2-3 days, lapping it up with the food there. But in saying that, we used to go to like how bakeries will sell like not the leftovers, but the last minute food's a lot cheaper. So I remember those days going into the bakery with the old man, and he'd like buy like a bulk, and I was like, man, these are like, we're rich. He's buying all the stuff, and this basically around 5:30, he was like bags, and you'll get the lucky dip of having a pie, or lucky dip of having a mince and cheese pie. But every time I knew my dad was going, I'll go with him because I knew he'll give me the pie, and all the rest were bags of bread. And I was like, yeah. But mentally, I was never thinking that my dad or mum will go without. So they'll bring food home, and all you're thinking about is just yourself eating food. But when I look at it now, I know there were days that mum and dad didn't eat because they had to, put food on the table for us. And having so many of us, it was hard to think about it now and try and think about what happened back then, because I guess that's what makes people these days, and we say this every week. The experiences shared and the struggles you go through makes you could turn you into a better man, or you could ride that I don't know, their loss and keep going on another road. But yeah, it's a similar story to yours, Will. So, and I think we've shared millions of stories when we're at work. we were meant to work, but we were working. But throughout your years, before youth, doing youth, what made you take the path of going back to school, going back to learn? Did you see that you had potential in yourself to move and go through that journey again, or?
Well, that's the thing. Like I obviously finished school at Form 2. I didn't think I was there for all of Form 2. So I had finished, I think it was like 11, 12. And I'd already started working. and I don't even remember like all the years before that. So I'm not too sure how I was able to even learn how to talk. But in saying that, like, I never thought I would go back to study because I thought, I was done. It's going to be too hard. And then just thought, I had the old just go work hard, all the OT, whatever else, live off pay to pay. And then gradually doing that, like every job I was either getting fired from or I was having arguments with the bosses or getting into scraps with them. But it was all my fault. But I just had that chip on my shoulder. Then I thought, this isn't me. And then I don't know what it was, but it was just like I wanted to do something that was meaningful. And then I just reflected on my family story. And I've always been the older brother to my siblings, my three brothers, but I've got an older sister. And I always thought, I was always the guy that I walked down the path, and then I'll walk back to them and I would say, oh, no, don't go down there, and kind of steer them away. And then also too is, how can I say to them to go do some sort of study or backup schooling if I'm just sitting there being the older brother, just doing the old point the finger, all the gear, no idea. And then I went back to uni, and it was like probably the worst. The first week or 2 weeks, it was the worst thing ever. I didn't tell anybody that it was like really, really like daunting. But I got through a day. Each day I got through another day. And I remember, because have you heard of plagiarism?
Yep.
Very familiar.
So my first assignments, I didn't know that there was a word. Sorry.
No. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I went. I passed. Like I got through 2-3 days. I got through a week, and then I thought, I am the man. And then I had my first assignment, and I copy and pasted everything. And then there was one time I was like sitting in class, and then one of the tutors came up and kind of said, "Oh, is this your work?" And I was like, "Yeah." And like, "Oh, that's plagiarism." And I was like, "Yeah." Until she explained that you can't copy and paste other people's work. Bro, I left and I was like, "Nah, fuck this. I don't want to do this." Oh, excuse my language. But I was like, "Nah, if this, I don't want to do this. I can't do it. It's too hard." But then again, sit there, reflect. Nothing's as hard as the life that my mom's been through or my siblings have been through. I can do this. So yeah, just did another year. And then came out with a degree in youth development. So let's go.
And you became close with your tutor as well, eh? Because I think you at the end of it, when you at your graduation, you guys, it just seemed from looking from the back, you were quite close. Was that?
Yeah, that's obviously because like I went in there. I had no skills, no tools, no nothing, but I went in there with the experience, the life skills, everything that I had gone through or know people that have gone through. So I was able to articulate that into my assignments. I was able to put all of that stuff forward, and the tutor, she could sense that I didn't want to be there, and she took me under her wing, and so every time I had an issue, like the assignment is asking for this, but I'm like, how do I explain it? I would call her and I would explain it in my own experience, and then she would flip it and say, this is how you do it academically to pass. So it's almost to say that I already had all the tools. I just needed to know how to sharpen them, and she helped me with that.
That's also the same with Swanky. He I don't want to talk about Swanky's journey growing up, but quite a talented person, but he likes to hide away.
Oh no, it's just kudos to you for pursuing and actually following through and finishing it. Like, it could have gone either way. But with the kids that come through the houses that you manage now, do you sometimes see a little bit of, like, not that you went that route, but do you sometimes see a little bit of your younger self in those kids, and you tend to be more of an older brother to them?
Yeah, it's one thing to be an older brother, but then also another thing to I wouldn't say so much an older brother, because there's obviously that connection, and they come into a space where they know nothing about you, but it's more so seeing something that a kid does, and I automatically reflect like, I was like that. So I'm able to reach back into that toolbox and pull out like a safety net. And sometimes it doesn't work, but then and my thoughts is this would work because this is what would have kind of helped me. And then if it doesn't work, then obviously I can always go back to the theory or whatever practices to help support that kid.
Sure. Just got a comment and question here from the Suspire. Was my journey similar to yours, and I have always convinced myself that study is not for all, but you have proved that with your background, you still managed to overcome those barriers. For an older soul like myself, who absolutely hated school, what advice can you give to motivate people with a similar journey?
Uh, I'm not. To be honest, I'm not too sure. Like each individual is different. Um, all I can say is that I reflected on how hard things are for um, my mum and my siblings, and then just thought that there's nothing harder than that. And then every time I got into a situation where obviously I was passionate about youth work, and as I mentioned last time on, I was wanting to work up the ranks, and they were pushing me down. My experience wasn't enough. I needed papers. That was extra motivation to say, oh, okay, so if that's what you want, that's what I'll go do. So it was almost like a navigation, you know, going there, them saying that you can't. So then that's the only reason why I went back to study.
Is it a popular route, Oos?
Eh?
Is it a popular route? Like the people you work with, are they all wanting to be what you are, or are they just there like?
See, that's the thing. Like, I guess if I look at my service and the stuff that I'm doing there, I've actually because I've always been one of those young people. My siblings have been one of those young people. I've been fortunate enough to be in a position where I can hire who I want. So if I'm going to run a service that's looking after kids, and you can hold a conversation regardless of the quals or not. If you're a builder, that's a relatable skill. I'm gonna hire you. You can hold a conversation. That's also a life skill for a young person. Back then the people might have looked at what quals did you have, and yes, you probably need quals in the long run, but for right there and then building that rapport, anything's transferable and relatable. But I also encourage, just going back on topic, I also encourage that those that work with me to get something, get a paper,
Yeah.
just to add to their value.
Yeah.
Experience is valuable, but some sort of education is also valuable as well.
Yeah.
There's never enough. You see it. Be educated. But yeah, knowledge is power, man. So
Just quickly before we go on, just a little announcement. We'd like to thank our sponsors, Air Mask Familiar. So throughout level 3, 4, 2, 1, I think masks will be mandatory on public transport. So if you are taking public transport, reach out, support your local at Mask Familiar. They customize their own masks, so they come up with some really, really good masks. And man, look at that Mickey Mouse. They have some poly designs out there too. So reach out to the family, but and just quickly, I'd like to send our deepest condolences to the Mace family who have lost a loved one. Just sorry to hear the bad news, and hope we get to chat later and talk about the old man's journey or the old man's life as well. So,
prayers and thoughts are
deepest
with you at
condolences
this
to
hardest
the
time.
Mace family.
Yes, prayers and thoughts are with you. But yeah, hopefully we get to catch up later on.
Yeah, sorry to back to Will's. I think the week or leading up to you going back to study, and I think I mentioned this before. You said, bro, do you want to go do some papers? And I said, oh, is it easy? Is it easy? And it's like I don't know. So the also Wills and Sosh at the time went signed up, and I think a year later, just hearing that the brothers were like doing well, and then a second year, and then that's when it clicked. I was like, fuck, they're going on to their third year and about to graduate, and here I am thinking about like other shit in my life when I should have just jumped in and in full force with the brothers. And then it came the third year, and I'm there watching the boys, and I don't regret what I done from then until now, but what I do kind of should have thought about more and not think about other things is get a paper, not the bad things though, but
never the bad
who's
things.
Enzo.
Those from Enzo. Will's journey was inspirational for those around him because he used to work 120 plus hours a fortnight.
Was,
man.
yeah, I guess that was that was the buzzy thing too, is because we would be in class and everyone would be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the library and carry on studying. I'll be like, oh I gotta go to work, man. So it was probably smashing out 80 hours, making sure that the bills were paid. But also too, it was at the same time I was investing in my mind and getting. It sounds cliche, but I was actually investing to get the papers done, and actually got it done. So, and working full time and studying full time as well, and and a husband, father, so all of that stuff. So big ups to obviously my wife for holding it down for those years. I probably still haven't paid her back for that, but let's go.
It's coming. It's coming.
Holding it down.
Shout outs. Any more studies coming for the future? So like for where you are now?
Yeah,
is there more to pursue?
Yeah, I guess it's some would have thought that haven't because I hadn't been at school for so long that I would have just probably went with a certificate, which is probably like 6 months or something. But that was 3.5 years of study at uni. So then, looking at doing some papers, either my master's in social work, which would be another year and a half. But yeah, always looking for something.
That's sort of like investing in yourself, sort of thing, eh? I was
Eh?
saying. Is that sort of like investing in yourself, right?
Yeah, it's
Some will say. Some will say.
yeah, and I've heard that before. I used to say, "What the hell are you talking about?" But then if you look at it, if you're able to, just manage people and just put in processes for people, then they don't have to try and clone you. Because my take on it was, man, you'll never be able to do that process because you need 10 of me. And I went through that hard yard of like obviously working all the hours and everything else. But then it's working smarter by creating a process, putting it in so that everybody understands it. That's able to work for 10 people, and you not having to work that much.
Just going back to graduation day, going up to receive that paper that says, you've done it. How was that feeling, bro?
It's crazy. I think it's been like 2-3 years now since graduation. But I have I have that the degree up in my room, and it's I always do the odd look up and give a bit of a nod. But that day was like a blank to me because I wasn't even sure how I got there. I was still trying to this day I still try and figure out like how the hell did you get that? I sometimes question myself. In the privileged position that I'm at now, having done the work and got the papers, I kind of sit there reflecting, bro, do you even know what you're doing? But then I'm like,
yes, you do, man.
I'm like, hell yeah. But yeah, but yeah, that was a couple of years ago, and it's been awesome. So it was good. Terry was there as well to see us, the boys. So,
Would you say that on the day of graduation wasn't a celebration, but on the day of your final last exam, when you basically said, "That's it, I'm done"? Would that be like the part of you that meant now I can celebrate and like and basically be free with your studies? And then obviously within going up on stage, it just adds to all the hard work.
yeah, but what's buzzy too is that even receiving that degree or that paper and actually thinking, oh man, that's all done. I still I was still thinking like this is nothing. Like what what we went through, what my mom went through. She should be holding all the masters, or everything else. That was just a little notch and me and someone saying you can't do it and me doing it. But in saying that, like I remember receiving my last pass, and I sent a message to my brother, and I told my missus, and she was like, "Oh, so you're done?" I was like, "Yeah, you're graduating." And then like, bro, I just broke down like for like a few hours because I was like I think it was just the whole. Although I was studying full time and working full time, like I hadn't taken that step back until it was finally done. So that whole day, bro, I just bawled my eyes out for a few hours, and then I was like, "Oh, sweet!" And then by the time I came to graduation day, I was like happy, but then I was like, "I've already celebrated. Now this is just a piece of paper."
Facts. It's hard work, man. Kudos to you for finishing it. Like Per said, like school ain't for all of us.
Mm.
I definitely went for like 3 years. I probably needed like one more to finish it, but I couldn't finish it. Because like you, like, oh, bro, it was just not for me. But I was just trying to do it to, make your parents happy because, they want to see you succeed in that. So my other two sisters, they got their degrees. My youngest one is on her way, but for me, it just wasn't for me. So I had to find another way. So like leaving uni and just jumping in the workforce was my way of trying to repay them. But yeah, like kudos to you for finishing it. It's not easy, bro, and it's not for everyone.
Yeah, and everybody takes a different route. Whether you jump straight into study straight after school, and then the other route is just jumping back into the work and working hard. My route was obviously been working hard for so long, and then just I needed a new challenge. Something needed. I needed something, and that's what it is, and that's what it was. So, yeah.
I think the same thing with how you said studying and going back to school, and one thing I know for sure is that when I went over to the trains, there's a lot of like you got to do a lot of theory, and there's a lot of tests that you have to take, and I didn't know, like, signing up, I thought, oh, easy, they'll just give you all the answers and you just go off on your merry way. But no, you have to follow these standards, and it's NCA approved, or you can get some sort of qualification at the end of it. And that was our first year, and because I knew Swanky before going to join the trains, this guy didn't even have to try hard, bro, and that's how talented he was, or he still is. In class, and one story, and I think I've told this to one of the other boys. This guy slept in class nearly like a whole day, and this guy topped the class. He didn't even have to listen. The test comes out the next day, and then the hardest thing about it is that I had to write it, but I knew I have done that test before. And this guy still fucking topped the class. I was like, fuck, I've already done this. I've already done this test like a couple of months back. And this dude just wakes up. Not that he was getting told off by his favorite teacher, but like things like that you see around you, that a lot of poly Pacific Māori, we have the talent, we have the we have all the tools that we need. I guess it's just the help around us, or the extra little step for yourself.
Yeah, bro. And while you're in that job, like if you're gonna stay in that job for a few years, and like opportunity to get a paper with it, you might as well get the paper, man. Like, I don't know if you're still there, Terry, in New Zealand. They're handing out NZQA qualifications too for loading. If Alan's still in the chat, he'll probably remember. But they're handing out certificates as well for loading, And I just thought, man, I'm already here for like 4 or 5 years. I might as well just get that. So I think if you get the opportunity while in the job, you're doing it for a few years to get those papers, you might as well get it. Like 2 birds with 1 stone, eh? You're already there. You might as well get the paperwork with it.
Yeah,
and that was it with us. We were getting paid to learn on the job. So that worked out for us. We didn't have to, I guess, go the route of applying for applying for extra financial help during that time. But in saying that, it doesn't, like, if you have passion in what you're doing. And one story before, I think I'm going off topic here, is how I was fired from youth, from doing youth work, and I think that was the turning point, is because I didn't think I had the drive, and I didn't have the patience to look after youth. Went through an incident, and I felt that I was hard done by. But You know, if it wasn't for that little obstacle in my journey, I don't think I would have taken the route that I'm at now. And I could say that I'm comfortable where I am, and in the role I'm doing. I'm not going to say, but it's led me on a path where I needed to change my act there. I needed to do something that I thought, like, I knew I had it in me, but I was always second guessing myself. Like when Will's asked you, bro, we're gonna go sign up. Oh no, sorry, they said we've signed up. We're gonna do some papers, and the boys are like pushing me, bro. But I knew deep down that I'd always be 50-50 with stuff. Like, oh yeah, okay, now I'm good. But then the other 50 was like, nah, bro, these other like 20 people out there that do a better job than you. They'll always do a better, and that's me saying it to myself. I'm like, nah. I always think like that the paper's out of reach, or the role I'm in, oh no, it's out of reach, because me seeing white people in those roles, like, oh no, brown guy. But as soon as I see like an islander, I'm like, okay, it now becomes like a 70-30. Like 70% of me is like, I can maybe do that. But that 30% always kind of like takes the reign over how I'm thinking. I'm like, fuck, nah. But I had to stick with it because having family, having little ones, and knowing what I've done in the past, kind of like pushed me even more to kind of, if I failed, and that's what I was probably scared of, is the failure. I never knew it could be a good thing, because I knew I failed, and I left the job that I thought I was passionate at, and to get told, I don't think we're going to be terminating your contract. I was like, fuck, Then I started blaming everyone else but myself, and I had to take a look at myself and say, you're complaining about everything else, but try looking at yourself first. So yeah, and after all that, going through, doing a bit of, I wouldn't say study, but in the industry I'm in, there was a lot of there was like maybe a year worth of theories, and then at the end of it's like 2 years that you have to go through theory, practical. So I could say that that's my degree. That's my kind of my paper, and we do get a paper in that role, and to what I'm trying to get at is
how do you research ACCS?
I think the to know that you have gone on a path where shit, I need to change my act, to where I am now. I was like, I can say I'm happy, but I know I can do more. If that's what if that makes sense, boys.
Yeah. That's exactly
100%.
That's what I was talking about earlier. About like there's something that makes you turn the train track, and you touched on that about being fired from the youth and thinking that was your passion. I remember too. I was working another job, and I used the youth work as casual, and I'd been at this other job for a while, and then I got fired because got fired because I was just talking to this guy, and I'm a big guy, and then he took me upstairs and said that I blocked the doorway, and he felt for his life. And so then they did the old you blocked this doorway. And I was like, mate, my shoulders are big, as wide as the door. Anywho, so then I had the youth work, and then I obviously had a family. I mean, my wife and that. So I was like, bro, I had to put all the eggs in one basket, and then the youth work, and then I was like, bro, I actually love this. And then that's kind of where it went to the papers. So everywhere in life there's a roadblock, and then it's up to you which way you go. You either try and bust through that wall, or you find a different route.
100%, man.
Speak on it.
I think we've got some comments.
Oh, yeah, just got a question here from Pels. It's for Wills. Wills, during your studies, did you ever find a part of your papers where you thought, hold on, this particular part wouldn't fit our Pacific community?
100%. I always, and that was the good thing about being able to write like some of your papers, is writing about the article or whatever it was, and then kind of give your view on it and why it didn't sit well with you, and giving your own opinion. My tutor that I was close with, she was big on that. She advocated for some of the stuff that references for, and us coming up with our own ideas on how things are. Because you got to remember that some of those studies and stuff were done like years and years ago. Like, the times have changed now. Although you can still adapt those practices, things have kind of changed. But there's a lot of stuff that doesn't fit the Pacific community, and hence why my Instagram handle is Edgewalker, because it was one of the papers that I read about edgewalking, Pacific, the Pacific kids or youth coming from the islands. Say if they're in Aotearoa, you're from Samoa, you obviously are walking in between the two of what you would usually do, whether it's traditional or beliefs, and they come in here and having to adapt to that Aotearoa stuff.
I was just going to touch on that, your Instagram handle, but I think you've nailed it on the head. With it's also walking that fine line too, with your life, and you've done it. You actually balanced it, and also using that experience, and I think with the journeys or the experiences that we have, it's always going to be etched into us. So it's never going to be. We always use it as a positive, in a positive light, because that's how we've navigated. Again, what you said, you've navigated through life. I think there's one more. There's a question from Enzo Golomi. Risamoni.
Hard out. He's asking, was considering that Māori and PI are overrepresented in terms of considering that Māori and PI are overrepresented in terms of youth offending, how do you adapt your approach to youth work to suit this? Also, this has been a great listen so far, boys. Up the Panthers.
That's the thing, though. We already know that it's overrepresented, but not every superhero wears a cape. So rather than seeing that and trying to change that whole system, my take on it is just focus on reach one, teach one. And if I can start small, and
I love
my
that
approach, if I can grab onto one young person and invest in him, I'm gonna hope that that's the trickle effect. If we look at young people nowadays, it's all about status, and it's them talking or upping things that they've enjoyed. So if I can invest into that young person, hopefully that's been trickled to his peers, and then their peers. So reach one, teach one.
Can you just elaborate more on that reach one, teach one? I think we had a sneak preview on our a few episodes ago, and we didn't dive into, I think, more of the specifics around reach one, and it is self-explanatory, but I think these are more of a meaning behind it, because when you said it, it was something. It kind of touches. It resonates with you're like, fuck, that's so simple, but yet you can explain more.
Yeah, and all that is again is when I started studying, I had that notion of, right, I want to go and I want to change the world. I'm going to save all these people, and I'm going to do all this fantastic work. And then I kind of look at the people that are before me, and I'm like, oh man, you've been doing that for ages, and there's still no change. Again, all the gear, no idea. So the whole thought of is, if I can invest in one young person and just solely focus on that one young person that comes through my service, or if I engage with or have any interactions with, then I'm gonna teach him something, and in teaching him something is gonna hopefully him teach someone something. And if I go back to the service that we're running for the young people, a lot of these kids have forgotten the basics of how to get up, how to have a routine, how to brush your teeth. You brush your teeth in the morning, you don't brush it, at lunchtime. It's how you get up and set your day by making your bed, checking, looking out the window, seeing how the day is how you adapt the rest of your day. So if you can reach one, you can obviously teach one. Obviously, then there's an extension to that, believing in one, and then leading one, and then the truck and trailer effect by leading. There's always a trailer behind.
I love that, Luce. I love that.
It's the late Gandhi. Yeah.
No, man, it's bro, and that's why again, boys. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I've obviously got a lot of things that I need to talk about or have conversations about. So I'm happy to just sit on here and talk it. Yeah.
Yeah, just quickly, boys. While we're on I guess a similar topic. What has been your reset during this lockdown? What's a reset you've gone through? And a reset could be anything. It could be you taking time off work, or could be time for yourself. So, yeah, for you, Swanky, during this time.
Man, like probably the last person to say this, but just going back to work, because being on level 3, we've been put on standby shifts, so you're just on call at home. But yeah, just stepping out of the house, go back to work. Doing what you actually love to do, like driving trains for like one person, has been has been one of the resets for me. Another one is just catching up with the boys on the chat with you guys, or the other boys on my gaming chats, catching up what they're up to, because some of them from Oz. So yeah. So yeah, just having those circles of catching up with the boys has been good. Yeah, for me through this crazy ass lockdown that has conditions. How about you, Was?
Bro, mine's been buzzy as like, mine is just knowing that I can just leave something for tomorrow and I'll sort it tomorrow. Whether it's an email or a conversation or whatever it is. Like just that's always been my the hardest thing for me. But just understanding that, like having the effort, good, I'll sort it tomorrow. But then just putting some time aside to actually sort what I left and not letting it pile up. That's been my reset. Small wins, and I think we've got to celebrate the small ones. It doesn't have to be a massive win like the 23 million, but it has to be a small one. And if we're not celebrating that, here comes another lockdown and you don't get to celebrate it.
How about you, Tizza? What's it been for you?
I guess with my reset, there's quite a few, and I think the most recent reset I had was I had the whole day off. I had a standby shift, and my kids have been asking for a trampoline for ages. We ordered it. It was like a 50% off on Farmers online store. It was a 14-foot, so it came home I think earlier this week. In 2 days,
That's big,
yesterday. I thought, man, this is going to be good for the kids, right? Got up, we started putting it together, and bro, it took me like 5 hours, 4 hours to put. I was like, how can this? How is it that hard? In my head, I was like, why are the tramps so hard? Anyway,
it's a trap.
If I could, try and articulate what I was doing, because around the tramp there's holes where you plug your spring in, and the spring then attaches to the metal circular frame.
Cool. Yeah, frame.
Yeah. So and as you do, and you follow the instructions.
Yes, sir.
So you start off with one. You select one area 1. So you put your 1 spring. You move to 11. You count 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 11. And you count the next one up in 10. So you just keep going around, and that was the process of. And it went wrong. Like the numbers were off. I'm like, I'm the only one doing it, and I'm counting it right. So for about 2 hours, we started ticking it off. Like, we're not counting it properly. So we count it, boom, boom, keep going around the circles for 2 hours, bro. And then on the third hour, I was like, how about I just count the amount of holes in the frame and the amount of holes on the actual the tramp itself, the black sheet, whatever you put in the middle, the jumpy thingy.
Yo.
Turns out there was more holes on the frame, but 2 more holes than the bloody tramp. I was like, fuck, that's why I've been like doing this for the last 2 hours. Anyway, we had got to that point and we said, stuff it, let's keep going. So we started like pulling the springs, attaching it, got to the last one, boom, it was done. About 2 minutes later, the tramp just went up and it's bent itself because of the stress of the springs were pulling it so hard that it bent the bar. Bro, I'm like, 5 hours looking at the tramp, and I see the kids coming out, and you're like, Daddy, why is my tramp on the ear? So the reset before that, I was so happy to give them that, that little, that's gonna be their one, and for it to like, then, it was a factory fault. Apparently, they gave us the wrong mat. They gave us the 12-foot instead of the 14-foot. So don't blame me, guys. I've done my calculation.
So health and safety.
I've done my calculation.
It's health and
So
safety.
it took me 4 hours.
Nah, those things take ages, bro. Like it took me the same.
Bro, I don't know why people buy. I don't know why people buy tramps.
For the kids.
Just start hiring people. Should make it a business. It's bloody hard, bro.
Just get a bouncy castle.
True.
Oh, did you do it by yourself?
Oh, I had the old man helping out, but it was more so to just like put all the springs on, so I just get there and pull it back onto the thing.
So when did you realize that it was a fault?
It's a safe place, guys. So don't.
In the third hour of those who putting it together, in the third hour, he thought, "Wait, let me just count the holes."
Bro, it was it was the white man's fault, bro. It was the white man's fault. Trying to get us.
In the third hours.
Yeah, bro. It took me that long. No,
Hey,
you believe
ages, bro.
No, but you trust that the people that are bringing it over, it's not no faults.
Yeah.
But the fault was here. The fault was here instead of doing that at the beginning.
Nah. We're suing farmers after this show.
Nah, we
Health and
sent an
safety.
email, bro. And you know who had the nerve when we rang them up? As soon as it bent, we rang
Shit, the
our
photos,
farmer's
bro.
order, and they go, "Oh, did you follow the instructions?" And I was like, "Mother effer, I can read, I can read." But I skipped 2 pages, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. But yeah. So
matter. We
back
look
to
at the pictures.
it makes sense in the pictures. Don't worry about the wording. I guess another reset. With what I try and do is listen to podcasts. And on the same topic of podcast, I think there's a New Zealand Podcast Award. Rover's running, I think, and I think we've been nominated. But in regards to being nominated, you have to go through process and sending in a short clip. But what I want to actually say is shout out to those who have applied or have been nominated. It's a big step, and I didn't think it was serious from the last chat we had with West.
Yes,
I thought it was just some individual
Trolling
thought
us.
it was nice to give out awards. But in saying that, I listened to quite a few podcasts, and I'm just gonna name 3 off the top of my head, and probably the top 3 that I do listen to, and in no particular order. You have Bear and Claudia's podcast, and they go live at 2 p.m. I think every day.
Every day, Monday to Friday.
Monday to Friday, and they have a wealth of knowledge, and we were, I guess, fortunate to be invited onto their show and drop their numbers and viewership. Also, Timprovise project. He's got an amazing podcast, bro, and I think the main one I always listen to is the Thankful Thursdays. If you do get a chance, jump on, man. He drops them every Thursday. So yeah, I listen to that with Beast Mode and Timprovise, and also West. They're amazing, and they I think they touch on everything, sports,
everything,
medicine, music. I think it's all over. They've got basically a network, man, and it's good to see, especially with our own people. I don't know if the brothers listen to any other podcasts out there.
Apart from the 2 you mentioned, go ahead, Moose.
No, so I just started. We started listening to the West Network guys, the boys Runway, and their crews, and all the stuff that they have on there. I just kind of if they've got something or they've put someone up, then I'll just jump on and listen to it. Doing some amazing things as well. So, shout to the boys.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah,
for me, otherwise, apart from the 2 you've mentioned, it's mainly like tech podcasts, like technology. I'm into that stuff. So, there's a podcast called Waveform by MKBHD. I'm always into that. But yeah, that's it. But yeah, shout out to if we're pushing. For those tuning in, tap in and go vote for those 2 podcasts, Pierre and Claudia, and Timprovise. Make sure your love
Timprovise, and then you have the brothers and the network. West. Yeah. So
it doesn't take long. It's just like entering your name and the podcast you're voting for and the link or how you listen to them. But yeah.
And yeah, so the reason why we're trying to push our own, our people, because they deserve it. We already won it, but they deserve to be nominated. We already won, but
it's already here, man. The trophy's already here.
We got the trophy. It's in the beer bottle and the alcohol. But yeah. So again, go through. It's on the Instagram page, and I think it might be linked from their Instagram page. Is it New Zealand Podcast Awards? Is that correct, or do they have their own website?
For the voting.
Yeah.
For the voting, Per and Claudia, you have to. I think the link is on their Facebook, if I'm right.
Yeah.
Per. For Tempovides, the link is in his bio on Instagram.
Yeah. So that's probably the easiest way.
Yeah, but get out there and vote, man.
And honestly, sorry, before we move on, don't take our word for it. Like, go and listen. It's probably the best way. I could be giving you probably something worse than it actually is, but I do enjoy the podcast that I mentioned, and I think there's more to add to the list. But yeah, go across and listen to them. So brothers, before we end, I guess a positive or an advice that we want to leave with our viewers, listeners, and the 2 million that are joining in at the moment. We'll start with Swanky.
Man, I had a badass one, but no, man. Just thank you, Wills, for jumping on board. Always good to have people jump on and help us carry the message, spread the message out there. Thank you to the chat for tuning in, for the 2 million viewers. Appreciate the love, appreciate the support. For me, as we go through these uncertain times of lockdown or level 3 restrictions or conditions, just be kind. Just be kind to one another. Just be kind. Just a small gesture might help uplift the person you're being kind to. You know, it might be having a bad day, and just that gesture will help them see things through another light. So yeah, just be kind. That's it from me, boys. Wills?
Yeah, I guess there's two things for me is get out there and support your local. Obviously with lockdown and everything else, there's a lot going through social media of supporting your local. They would probably do with some of that help. And the other thing is help yourself before you help others. Because I think that advice it's so easy to go out there and give all the help, to give the lending hand to everybody, without understanding that you actually need the help yourself. So just something to leave for our 2 million viewers.
Man, yo.
Yeah, and it's climbing downwards.
2 million. Let's go.
Yeah, something a positive or something I want to throw out to the world is just encouraging our people. Just encourage. Yeah, start with yourself. So, and I think that's basically along the same lines as what Will said. If you don't start with yourself, it's harder for you to give to others. So, start with yourself. I actually had something mean, bro, and then I was thrown off by Mahatma Gandhi, and every time I listen to the man, it's just full of knowledge, bro. I'm
mesmerizing, the voice, man.
I know.
Mesmerizing.
That soft tone.
He's got that voice. He's just got that.
Yeah, it must be the nurture the seed and it will blossom.
Oh. Mites. Gems.
Don't worry, next week we'll have some air horns. We gotta get our pod check. But yeah, probably the main part is don't pour from an empty cup. So just think about yourself. focus on yourself, your family,
Mm.
and just have that. Just give out positive vibes.
Yes,
You
sir.
wake up in the morning. Just if you're positive from the get go, you'll have a good day. That's usually how I start, and at the end of the day, I'm having fights. But that's another story.
Yes, sir.
Anything else you boys want to add?
For me, for our followers and listeners listening to our podcasts, go jump on the other podcasts like Pierre and Claudia, like those who Tiz said. Show some love on their side. Pierre and Claudia, 2 p.m. Monday through Friday on Facebook. They shine light on businesses, poly businesses, small local businesses, services that our people need. So show some love over there. Of course, to improvise with the current events with Beast Modes. Drop in, have a listen. And also to West. They cover everything over there. Music, sports. Show some love, show some support. I know podcast is not
100%.
really a popular format, but just support our people, with the platforms.
Yeah, and all those 2 million people out there, man. If you see us around, say hi. Be down for a chat.
Man. I'm down for
and
autographs, down for photos.
Now the paparazzi are after me, but just say hello. And if you do want to chat, man, by all means, just hit us up on our page. We have our Facebook, we have our Insta, and we also have YouTube. Just reach out, man. We'll be keen for a text, or if you want to chat, we'll be open for that.
Yeah, just and also to those listening, like, subscribe, and share.
Yes, sir.
Terry's mentioned in the start that this is on all platforms. So, if you want us to hold some KFC for you to tune in and subscribe, then so be it.
Yeah, if you want the KFC, you want the KFC and the vouchers. It's all right. You'll be taking food off my kids' table, but just give us a message, eh? But also, again, shout out to the chat, man. Enzo Golomi, Bear's been going handy, and also we've had many more.
T-Roll, Mari, just the normal
Mitua,
people. Yes, shout out
Mitua. Then we have who else?
Shout out Alan,
Mari,
Sifa,
for the boys.
T-Roll, T-Roll, good to see you, man.
Yeah, so shout out to the brothers and the sisters out there jumping in the chat. I'm Teza, by the way.
I'm Swankin Sick.
And I'm William.
I thought you were going to say Edgewalker.
Man. Do it again.
I'm Teza.
I'm Swankin Sick.
Yeah, let's go.